Buying or finding a new home should not be stressful or boring. With over 14 years experience, Good Time Tommy has spent his time building strategies, tips, and content that will help you, the new homeowner or seasoned homeowner, get the best deal for your money. Educate, navigate, and celebrate. Because whether you're buying or selling, you're going to get more traffic to your property promotion on every channel, and watch as Tommy and his team work until you are satisfied. Your new home awaits you with Good Time Tommy and his team. Subscribe, like, and follow at GoodTimeTommy.com. That's GoodTimeTommy.com.
Hey, real estate friends, go right here to our girl, Belinda Arender. If you're looking for a difference maker in your loan business or in the process for your client, get over there to my girl, Belinda.
Arender.
Yeah. You guys are live?
We're live now.
Oh, that's right, because it's a little bit
Fantastic.
Well, hey, before we do that, I think we're probably going to have to share this on the Thomas C. Davidson because I don't see that. And just make sure.
we live.
We're live. We'll go ahead and get over there.
Oh, that's cool. I like the Belinda Arender up there. Did you do that?
I did it.
Sparkle promotion is on it.
All right, let's get started, kids. It's Wednesday at 1 o'clock. That means it's time for Real Estate 101 with me, GTT, the weatherman, and our new sidekick today, Mr. J. Cash. Today we're going to talk about auctions, and we brought in our favorite auction. Thanks for coming in here, my friend.
Thank you, GTT.
Weatherman, have you ever been to an auction?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
We're going to see if we can get him to do that in a little bit. So, I have been to a few auctions. Do we have everything set up there? Are we good? We're going. So tell me this, and you can ask questions at the very end.
At the very, I got the last 30 seconds. What about our sponsors?
Well, I think we're doing a new sponsor.
Okay.
But today it's Iberia. Let's go ahead and give a big shout out to I see her right there.
Hey, Belinda, we got you all over the screen. So, folks, this is who we use. This is who puts us on the map. This lady makes us famous. She is our one and only, Belinda Arender, with Iberia Mortgage. And if you're not using her, you're missing out. So, guys, if you need somebody, if you need the best, call Belinda Arender at Iberia
All her
Mortgage.
info up there. So, hey, here's my part. Every Wednesday we come to you. We want to make, we really want to make real estate fun, educational. Edutainment is what we call this. So, if you have never seen this, every Wednesday, 1 o'clock, we do it. Please like the Good Time Tommy page. Please share the stream from me. I'm trying to get famous. I can't do it without you. If you share the stream, we will go back and we'll find one person. We will reward you with a gift card from the Alley on Main, my favorite restaurant. So let me tell you this, my experience. Me and Brittany,
Hey, Vandy Van made auctioneers on here.
Hey, Vandy. So let me tell you, me and Brittany Renee, we went to one that Vandy put on right over by Blue Coast Burrito. And man, it's like a little 800 square foot house, and it sold for like $140,000. So tell me this: why? Till there's a million people watching, why should you do an auction? Tell me what is the prototypical blah 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 type of home that you should use for an auction.
Well, that's the number one question you get. Really, any property, anything can be sold at auction. It always comes back to the seller's situation. What makes sense for the seller? What's our objectives? What are we trying to accomplish here by it? You know, obviously, we could list the house. You guys could list it. Anyone could list a house. Or you could have an auction. But there's usually a situation that dictates whether or not we're going to go to have an auction. It could be it's part of an estate. You know, grandparents died, parents have died, something's happened, or all the heirs are in different parts of the world and nobody really wants to move back and take on the responsibility of the property that's there. It could be investment property where it's income producing and there's going to be a large number of bidders and prospects that would want to buy the property, and what better way than to have an auction, bring them all together and create that competition, and that usually dictate or lends itself to be a really good auction. But anything can be sold, whether it be personal property assets or real estate, which is what we're talking about. Right. But it all depends on the seller's situation and what they're trying to what we're trying to accomplish for them.
Let me go first.
You already knew I was about to jump in.
Well, I could feel you breathing on it. I mean,
feel
like,
it. You feel it.
Here's what I have seen. Like when the markets are going up, like the time we're in now, it seems like people overpay for a house.
Could be.
Seems like when times are bad, they go for a lot less. Am I anywhere close to that?
I have not market value, it just, the time and place that we're in. Right now, we just closed a deal this morning that had been listed for a little while, and for several reasons, it did not work out. The listing didn't. So it came to an auction. We sold it. It brought $10,000 more than what they were even listing the property for. And, and so that's a good day. That's the day we're heroes. Yeah. There's other times where you come in and, the back's against the wall. It may be not quite the most pleasant situation, and it may not bring quite what everybody wanted to. But a good auctioneer is always going to advise the seller an accurate range of where we think it's going to be. I always say we don't need the practice. We don't want to go out there and just put up signs and have a big show and then not get the property sold. But, I'm sure you're going to get to the two different types of auctions. I think that's
that's
one
how you already knew it.
Chomping over here.
But hey, I got one more question.
Then
I'll let you speak for 20 seconds.
Well, Mike Dwayne's on here, so tell you, buddy, hello.
My best friend, we dance together. Whenever you're when you're coming up with a price, do you just pull comps like normal realtors, or how would you give them an assessment of what you think it would sell for? Because I feel like a lot of times whenever you're auctioning things, they're probably unique, and it's hard to price it. How do you set expectations for the seller?
There is no scientific way of doing it. Certainly we pull up the comps, get on the MLS. A lot of times it's just a feel. After doing it for 30 years, which I've done it all my life, you have a feel when you go to a property. Why hasn't it sold? Well, there's usually a couple of reasons why a property may haven't sold. Or it could be the first choice that a seller wants to go to an auction first. And going through that, you can certainly pull comps. That's the first thing we're going to do. But then you just look at the demand. Is this house, is this property, is this farm, is this something people kind of want? This 40 acres about 8 miles outside of Murfreesboro. Do you think there's going to be demand for it? Yeah, I think so. So you take all those things into consideration. Now, if we got a single wide trailer 35 miles out from the middle of nowhere, is this going to draw a lot of people? It really can't even, we don't even have a title to it. Will this work at auction? Well, it can be sold, but it's probably not going to bring a whole lot. So, we're going to bring down our opinion of what we think it's going to do. A good auctioneer will give you a range, I think. If you find an auctioneer and give you an exact price, or he's got a crystal ball, get his number. I want to call him because it's impossible to, pinpoint it exactly. But we always try to give a good range of where we think it's going to fall from. But, yeah, certainly comps and just a good feel for it.
This is my turn.
Speak. Speak.
Well, a couple of things I want to compliment you on. You look like you're about 21 years old. Okay. So, a lot of times
good-looking guy, too.
You definitely
I'm
get
looking
this,
on the camera, man. You look a lot better than me.
You definitely get this.
Man, you look good up there.
We're about to break the internet. 11 shares. That's unbelievable.
So the one thing that just by listening, you said some very powerful answers, which is, one, you can't really give what the market's going to bring right now. Most people try to tell you what it's going to bring, which is very wrong because we're in this crazy market, especially with auctions. So I appreciate the honesty. You've definitely just in your few minutes here showed me that your knowledge of auctions and it supersedes you. So you definitely is somebody that would definitely recommend really up there. The next question is absolutes compared to a regular auction. Yeah. Is it in your opinion the absolutes bring more or less than a regular auction?
Almost with complete certainty, I could say an absolute auction.
You stole my word, certainty. That's what I use.
Certainly.
Certainty.
In my professional opinion, a seller will net more, get more for their property at an absolute auction. Okay. That is properly conducted and advertised. Gotcha. So there's a lot to it. You could have an absolute auction, but if you're not going to advertise it and have the backing to get the people there, it's not going to do it. And there's two types of auctions. Obviously, we're talking about absolute auction. That means it sells without reserve. There's no minimum. The highest bidder is going to get it. And then there are reserve auctions. Anytime you see an ad in the paper, whether it's my ad or any other auctioneer's ad, if you see just the word auction, 9 times out of 10, probably 10 times out of 10, it has a reserve. Sure. So it's something a lot of people don't know when you're looking in the internet or on the paper or on wherever you're looking for auctions. If you see the word auction, most of the time that means there may be a reserve. There is a minimum bid that we've got to get for it.
Sure. But what is the give us the breakdown finance? Like you got to put 10% down. What are the terms? I guess
all the terms are different. That's something the seller will always determined. The auctioneer, I'll advise you. But yeah, usually we want to take a pretty good chunk of change down the day of the sale.
Yeah.
Closing in 30, maybe 45 days. It just depends on where we are.
Is it refundable or non-refundable?
Non-refundable.
Okay.
So when you put that down, you got to be certain to close on it. On the house I was talking about, we closed this morning. A lady came in. She put down her 10%, closed exactly today, was the 30th day. And she got financing on the property. That's another question that we'll probably get to, that, yeah, you certainly can get financing at an auction. You just
Sure.
need to be confident and know that you got the backing and you're going to qualify and you got
Right.
enough money down. But most of the time, anytime in Murfreesboro, that's what we're going to talk about, I guess, specifically Murfreesboro. We're licensed in Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois. But right here in Middle Tennessee, I'm going to say every auction you're going to go to is non-refundable. The property's being sold in as-is condition,
Yeah.
no repairs to be done. And that doesn't mean the auctioneer's trying to hide anything or sell you something that may not be good. It
Sure.
just means the seller is not going to come back and fix things. If we know of an issue, if we know there's a defect or there's a foundation problem, that's going to be pointed out to you as far as we know it. But absolute reserve auctions, the reason I think absolute does better, to get back to your question, was the fact that when people know there's a guaranteed sale,
Yes.
excitement is enhanced. You're going to get people that are going to spend time doing their due diligence. They're going to come and be prepared to buy. Versus or sell with the reserve, the first question you're going to get is, well, what do we got to get for it? What price do they want for this house? If a property's been listed for 6 months or a while, just a unique property, we know they're out there. Even though as great as the market
Yeah,
is,
right.
there's still
Sure.
difficult listings that are hard to sell. After it's been for sale too high for 6 months, then you come in with the reserve auction. That's the formula for just a bad day for everyone. But an absolute auction will always, I feel, get you more money because you're going to have a increased participation. The more people we get there,
Yeah.
the more bidding, it just takes off from there.
Weatherman, excuse me, I've got a question.
I can feel it.
2 questions.
2 or 1?
Because I've gone to an auction and I knew the old auctioneers up there, and I guess they trusted me, but I bid on the property. Now the bid went a lot higher, but all I had was a check.
Yeah.
Do you need any type of qualification, or you just need my check? Does it need to be certified funds? I've got one more question.
Every auctioneer is probably going to have something a little bit different. For the most part, right here in Murfreesboro, you're good to show up with your personal check.
No matter how much?
It really, what I've seen does it. Now, on some of the more higher-end properties, earlier this year in February, we had nearly $1 million home we sold.
Right.
We had to have certified funds, cashier's checks to register to bid. Everyone had to present a cashier's check in order to bid on the property. So that's certified funds in a way. I guess you could forge a cashier's check if you really want to. But as far as fraud or somebody coming up, writing a bad check, I've not had that happen.
It's hard.
It's not going to happen. There's a lot of safeguards we put in place at our auctions, but for the most part, you need to know you're going to qualify. You got to have the money somewhere. If everything hit the fan and the banker says we can't give you the money, you're going to need to come up with the rest of it, or you're going to lose your 10-15%
One
down.
more question. I'm sorry. I know. So let's talk about. I put my 10% down. You give me 30 to 45
Yep.
days. Then what if I need my extension? How are you on extensions?
Oh my goodness. Well, you're going to talk to a lot of auctioneers that are going to say, no way, not going to happen, never, 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 never. Not, you can't, you're going to lose your money. In Middle Tennessee, the auctioneers that I'm friends with, they're here to put a deal together.
Sure.
We're not going to let you lose over. Have I gone 33 days? Absolutely. Have I gone 35 days? Certain things happen. We're going to work with you. Now, if we start hearing those red flags coming up, hey, I've gone through 3 lenders, or 2 lenders.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to figure out a plan B here pretty quick. We can't extend it, but for the most part, it is a firm date. It's not a suggestion. Just like today, we sold it. I guess it was August 20th. 30 days later, September 20th. Could we have closed a little earlier? Sure, but that was the buyer's right to take all 30 days.
Right.
And went and took the lockbox off this morning, but. It's advised to stay within the 30 days, but I've never seen an auctioneer lose a deal if you happen to go a little over.
Hold on. You get hey.
What's 3?
He's got a whole sheet of questions over there.
I just want to say, if you've just now joined us, we do have our buddy Jay Cash. We are talking about auctions. If you have a question, J.R. Eastman asked a question. If somebody can see what that says. But if you just got on here, please share the stream. Please like us. If you share the stream, we're going to come back. We're going to find one person. They're going to get their belly full.
I got 6 questions.
All right, go ahead.
I got 7 questions.
I'm sorry, it's your show. I'm sorry.
No,
I've got one question about the alley.
Yeah.
Do you get the fried pork chop or grilled pork chop?
No, man, chicken
I would do
parmesan.
chicken parmesan or
Man.
fried steak.
We're trying to
And-
get it renamed, the Weatherman Chicken
Okay.
Parmesan. That's what we're
All
working
right.
on. But the fried pork chop is phenomenal.
It's pretty good.
Yes,
Pretty
very, very
We
good.
had it. We're going there Friday night. I'm trying to debate on which one I'm going to get.
Very, very good.
Have
I'm
you
leaning
ever been
towards
there?
the front. Been there a handful of times. Going back
Yes.
Friday.
Yes.
We will give you a gift card for coming on the show.
No, we don't need that, Tommy. We appreciate you
Oh,
putting the
well,
show
hey.
on.
No.
Hey,
We're gonna
absolutely.
do it
Well,
anyway.
go ahead and give it to me, then I'll take it. It's not a
It's only
sale.
$25, but hey, I want you to go.
One of
take
the
pictures.
questions I have is you made a comment earlier. So your wife is in this business
Yep.
with you.
Yep.
So y'all are both auctioneers.
Auctioneers. My dad's an auctioneer. My mother's an auctioneer, and we're an auction family. Second generation
Who
auctioneer.
does the?
I guess that would be me and my dad.
Okay.
Do you want to show us what you got?
No, but before we end, I'll teach you guys what we're going to learn in auction school if you win. I'll give you the basics, the ground floor. Where we
I've
can,
never met your wife. I've seen a lot of y'all's pictures at the horse races, and y'all are a beautiful couple. Beautiful.
Well, thank you. That's fantastic. I think she would appreciate the
Well, you
compliment.
tell her I said
I'll
both
do
of
it.
them.
And so the next question is, when somebody buys as is condition, and they do their own inspection, and say the house tanked, and I'm talking when I say tanked, foundations. At that point, you lose your earnest money. You're out, or
Yeah,
kinda-
I'm going to say a good auctioneer, a professional, is going to eliminate that situation before it
Okay.
ever comes up. There are
Okay.
times you can have a property that, like right now, we've got a property in Arrington, Tennessee, right near the four-way stop.
Yeah.
Heading towards Frank. I mean, it's getting calls from everybody.
Sure.
We don't have a lot of pictures of the house. Well, it's not. The house
There's
is
a
livable.
reason.
It's fine, but you handle those questions on the front end.
Okay.
Could you move in, live in it the way it is? Certainly, but I'm using your word a lot. Certainly, but
Certainty.
certainty. I'm
Certainty.
certainly. But you feel those things out. If
Yeah.
we hear, a lot of times it's not first-time home buyers that are going to come to an auction because the 10-15% down is going to eliminate them. More than welcome to first-time home buyers come to auction.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But you're going to hear that stuff in those questions where the buyers or the bidders or the people that are interested in the property, politely, this may not be the one for you if we're
Sure.
buying it contingent upon that. Now, at my auctions and a lot of the auctioneers in Murfreesboro, it's more than you're 10 days, 2 months, whenever the property is advertised, you can come in and get your inspections
Okay.
done. Doors open. It's not uncommon to have 6 or 7 home inspectors coming in for 6 or 7 different prospects, and everybody showing up with their home inspection the day of the auction. Totally fine to do that.
Okay.
We're not here to ever mislead or deceive anyone with the property. It's just this is the condition the house is in. We're not going to come back and fix or repair anything.
Right.
And that takes a lot of questions the seller may have. What are they going to ask me to do? I know I got a little issue back here. I got a gutter, might be that, and then the house may be in perfect condition, but a home inspector is going to find something wrong with
Sure,
it.
absolutely.
But we never do try to discourage anyone. Want you to come in, inspect it, look at it, and I can't tell you the amount of times someone's just shown up, driving by. We were heading to play golf this morning, or we was going to visit someone. We saw the sign, thought we'd stop, and they're the ones that buy the property.
Right.
I'm like, I would never do that, but it happens more times than you would think. Just somebody driving by stops and bids on it, and never had a bad deal. Never had a deal go wrong.
Sure.
Do you want me to go?
Go ahead.
J.R. Eastman, our guy that watches from time, mortgage guy. Appreciate you.
My son's on here.
Really?
Big D.
J.R. asked, have you seen a statistical difference between houses selling at a live auction versus an online-only auction?
That's a great question.
JR,
and,
that's a great question.
it's
Great question.
Great question, JR. Thank you for watching. I don't know how to figure that statistic because you can only sell the house one time.
That's true.
I could sell the same house today, tomorrow, and Saturday. We probably get 3 different prices for it.
Right.
And I don't know how to. It's just like when you say an absolute or reserve, which going to bring. Well, we can't sell it twice to know with complete confidence. I'm going to say online auctions are great. They're great for some people, but more times, and you may or may not agree, people still want to go inside and look at the house. They
Yeah.
want to look at it, and once you get them there on site, that emotion, that's what an auction does. It builds the emotion. They're there. Hey, I just had it for $210,000. That guy over there just bid $215,000.
I'm
Well,
gonna
I'm
get
not going to leave for $5,000.
Well,
$220,000.
I've done both. I've been online and I've been at a actual live auction, and my ego gets much more involved at a live auction. My logic, I can make a plan online, and once it goes above that,
You
I
hit that
can
X a
walk
lot
away.
quicker,
But
yeah.
whenever I'm at a live auction and I've got people looking at me and I'm wanting to show off, I'm wanting to look cool, next thing I'm giving, hey, those little.
I doing that little nod.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I do think your ego Well, you don't want to lose, and you want to look cool. So what you'll end up doing is you will probably go on up, all the way up at a live auction. Your turn, friend.
I'll tell you a funny story. You'll like this, and it probably happened. You said a lot. My in-laws' family had an estate sale, and they sold a bunch of stuff. Well, I've not been to very many auctions, so I'm bidding on, for some reason, one of those carts you ride like at the Grand Canyon when you get older. I was fixing to get it for $50.
Everybody needs one of those.
I thought I was going to sell it, so I'm over here like, hey, I'm doing this little, hey, right here, and he's pointing to me, looking, and it goes for $50, and I'm like, yes, but what I didn't realize is there was a guy behind me,
Oh my goodness.
and so every time he did, I did it, he always one up me, and so when he pointed, he was pointing at me. And so I lost it. So there are some people out there that are very skillfully at auctions. And when I say that about personal property, as a residential, it's big. But as you go through and selling personal property and people know, do you see a lot of people that really know how to get the right price and make sure they win it? Is there any strategy to it?
I've done this for 30 years, and I don't know what the best strategy is. Sometimes I say, hey, if you know this is what you're wanting to give for it, jump right in, put that max bid in, and try to blow the competition away.
Yeah.
And then there's other times I think all you got to do is be the last bidder. That's the only
Yeah,
thing.
well,
You just
yeah.
got to be last.
Yeah.
Just sit there. I know you want to bid, but just sit on your hands until you feel like it's about to close out. Then jump right in there. I'm kind of wondering why Mike Dwayne says I need to sit in the middle of you two.
He did say that.
I thought you said this was the seat I needed to
Well,
be
the
in.
producer of the show said to do it this way. Just the way we do it.
No, that's all right. Dwayne,
Whenever
I'm
there's
sorry.
3 people up here, I can't look.
Mike Dwayne's a horse guy, too.
Okay.
Yeah, right,
So,
pull that horse.
so to answer that, I like to position the expert in the room, Jay Cash, right here, so I can look at him and ask questions instead of we're sitting here. So that's the reason we do that. So I got 2 questions, but I'll go just one at a time.
One at a time.
Then back to you. So is there a bread and butter that you would say you have for auctions?
What makes the perfect auction, or what do I like the
Yeah,
most?
well, either. Whatever you want.
What makes a good one? Estates are number one. They're very touchy.
So for all the people out there, and I'm sorry for
That's
interrupting,
fine.
but I'm an only child. I only think about myself. So if you were telling, we got to tell people. They may not know
Yeah.
because I don't know what all that means. I just now figured out what an absolute versus.
A reserve sale
Yeah.
with the reserve.
Mhm.
Estate auction, that is just the polite way of, grandma and grandpa passed away, and
selling
now
their
we're
stuff.
selling all their possessions. It could be a living estate where they're not quite passed away, but we got to downsize and do that. But those are usually the most because people need to liquidate. They need to get the real estate sold. They've got the barn or the little tool shop out back that's full of stuff, and you never know what you'll uncover when you go in there. But estates, farmland is always an exceptional one. And then anytime we have income-producing property. Income-producing means rental property.
Right.
So if we have an investor with a portfolio he's looking to liquidate and be done in one setting, we can sell 15 properties in one stop rather than it taking an indefinite amount of time. But it always goes back to the seller situation on what will make the best auction. But my favorite are probably the estate settlements, income-producing property, farmland, and farm machinery is always good. And then another great one are benefit and fundraising gala event auctions. Those are always
Those are
important.
pretty neat.
What is that mean exactly? Like
Fundraising benefit, just where
Okay.
raising money
Okay.
for
Okay.
American Red Cross or
I got you.
Father Ryan High School, anybody.
Hey, Todd Tressler, thank you for watching. He gave
Hey,
us
look
a
at
shout
that.
out.
Todd Tressler's his folder right there.
Hey,
He's
look,
got his
hey,
name
look,
on it.
hey, look here.
He
Look
stole
here,
your
Todd
folder.
Tressler.
Hey, Todd, he stole your folder.
He's on a billboard on 24. Did y'all see that? He's got a brand new billboard.
I have not seen that, but I do appreciate Todd getting on here. Go ahead.
What was one of the, if you had to say out of all the years, what was probably one of the great finds as far as an auction? Something that just sticks out. It's like, holy crap.
I'll never have anything that awesome or neat. We've sold some airplanes before. We sold a helicopter before.
Wow.
That was kind of neat. We sold a yacht last December, which was really, really fun. Just a massive, just a picture.
Man, I think y'all advertised that. Yeah, I thought,
Yeah.
man, they're selling yachts.
That was a
Yeah,
lot
I've
of
seen
fun.
that, yeah.
And then just anytime we're selling prime real estate, that whether it be commercial real estate or high-end residential, those are always fun. They always draw a lot of interest and get a lot of calls. But I like them all, I guess. Really, I'm not going to be. I couldn't tell you what my absolute most interesting thing is, but probably the airplanes and yachts and stuff
I
like that.
big horses. I've always wondered this. Let's say you're advertising an auction, and I said, man, I want this thing so bad. Is there any way somebody could buy something before the auction?
Just like as all of us, I'm an auctioneer and real estate broker.
Sure.
Been licensed since I was 18, and that's in several states now that we've reciprocated all of our brokerages in. And you may find some auctioneers say, absolutely not, we're never going to do that. Here's the deal. Just like as a broker, our job is to present all offers.
Absolutely.
So it's not a verbal offer. Now, if you're going to go the effort and look at it, it'll be, as far as my auctions, it's going to be under auction terms. We're not going to change the terms of the sale.
Right.
And I would say it better be a pretty outstanding offer for us to pull it off the market, because it does a lot of things. One, if he's willing, anytime you got a person willing to give this 2 weeks before the auction,
Right.
they're looking out for themselves. They're not trying to help the seller out and go, I want to just take this. No. If you're willing to give it 2 weeks before, you're probably going to be willing to give it the day before and the day of the auction.
Right.
And if this is one guy that's seen it or one person, wait until we get a yard full of 15 or 20 people, or wait until the advertising really kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
And I have always seen one of the best stories on Highland Avenue up near Clearview Restaurant.
Yes.
It was back when times weren't so good. Had a house that wasn't all that great. And we had a gentleman come up, say, I'll give you $40,000. Wrote it down, came to the office, presented it. Seller goes, what do you think, Jay? And I go, it's your call. I mean, 40's pretty good, but I think we get a little bit more. The guy says, I will not come to the auction. This is the best offer. That same guy that made the offer comes to the auction, gives $82,000, and he's the buyer. And I think that's the
Wow.
greatest story. Is
Wow.
that not only did you say you weren't coming, you gave twice what your first offer was. So I always go back to that. But it's whatever in the seller's best interest. I know it sounds hokey, but that is the absolute truth. If
Sure.
we get an offer, one time we were over in Old Hickory. We had about a $550,000 home, $600 right there in that price range where we thought it would bring. We had an offer come in at $550 2 weeks before, and it was, what do you want to do, Mr. Seller? You know, your call. They took it. I think they made the right decision. We don't go back and what if. It was the right decision at the right time. We got the house sold and it was done. But it has been sold. It's not impossible, but it's whatever. I'd say seller dictates what's going to happen there. But it is plausible that you could buy it before the auction.
Well, you said something I think is very fair. We even talked about this on our segment about coming soons and presenting offers. A lot of people don't realize that you're right. As our job, our fiduciary job, if somebody handwrites an offer up to present it, and then if you are going to present it, make it strong, make to where you say, hey, I'm good. I don't want anybody in my front yard. So it's pretty good to know that you do have that shot if you are going to go to an auction, because, hey, it could go your way or it could go $20,000 more than you're willing to give. That's the cool thing about auctions. You just don't never know.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% there. Look at all the comments coming in here. I got a lot of friends on here watching. I appreciate you letting me on the show today.
I'm very impressed by the way you articulate your service. I mean, you're very good. You're very polished, very impressive.
Well, I learned when I first got licensed, and I was in MTSU. I got to thank, I first got a job at Bob Park's auction. I got to thank those guys because, you know, who really would hire a 21 or 22-year-old to sell your property? So rather than go back, help Dad every weekend, I worked a lot of sales with them, and I learned a lot of good things. Learned a lot of things I didn't like. Thought I'm going to do it better whenever I open my own company, and then a lot of things I did like. But the one thing I found since having my own company is complete transparency. You know, give as much information. Anytime we go out to meet somebody, you know, weatherman, you call and say, I got a client, they might have an auction, I'm not sure. I don't even take a contract, an employment agreement the first time. All I do is go and present information. This is what you can expect, Mr. Seller or Miss Seller. This is how this process goes. Here is an example of the last 200 auctions I've had and the results we have. Here's our reputation. We have a following. We can get you. This is what we can do for you, and let them make the decision. It's never a selling. I'm trying to talk you into having an auction. That's not going to be a good auction. We want to just give as much information as we can, and they'll make the decision themselves. And a lot of times it's, hey, we want to have an auction. When's the next date we can have it? There's sometimes we leave, and they go, thank you. I'm going to list it with the weatherman. And
Don't take that personal. It happens.
no, it's
It
good.
happens.
No, it's good.
Hey, we do have my buddy Richard Neese down in Alabama watching. He's a realtor down there. Maybe he could refer you some business down there. J.R. Eastman has another question. Appreciate the questions, J.R. What's the weirdest, strangest item you've ever auctioned?
I don't know. We've sold some really neat things. I have a friend of mine up in northern Indiana who has a tremendous collectibles and antique auction, and then occasionally I'll find really wild collections, and our partner will take it up there with him. Right now, this isn't the weirdest thing. It's just a little different. but and it is what it is, but we have every single Playboy magazine ever printed from episode 1, issue 1 in 1959, 49, I can't remember, with Marilyn Monroe, all the way up to whatever happened this month. And so we got that kind of weird. You know, the guy calls and says, my uncle passed away and I've got a collection, I'd like to sell it, and I'd like you to come look at it. Well, I've never seen 750 Playboys before, but I did. I had them in the back.
You looked through them all?
I did not.
I don't know what happened to them.
No, not at all. Not at all. I just didn't want to get pulled over, and I was just, you know.
You didn't even peek at the Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn was behind. She was framed. She was framed up, and that's where the real money's at in the first 5 years. Beyond that, there's no money in them in the 80s and 90s, and we're selling them by the decades. But the first 24, 36 months, those individually, they are very collectible. So that's unique. What other weird thing? A snowmobile. That was fun last year up there in Indiana. We sold a true snowmobile, just something you'd see not in this part of the country, but it's always something interesting. That's why I like it. You never know what you're going to find. We've been in some massive homes. We've been in, you know, little, might call them a rat trap, you know, just something that's not all that desirable, but, you know, from $1 million homes to just the most common little dwelling you'd see wherever.
So how many states are you in?
Licensed, we're in Illinois, Indiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, and Georgia.
Okay,
and
so
it sounds crazy.
How tough that is.
It's a pain. It's awful.
Okay.
But honestly, Nashville Auction School, which are in Tullahoma, they have a license management program where you just pay them a fee and they manage it all. I just take the classes, they send it out, I give them money, they just take care of it, all that for me. But where I grew up in western Kentucky, where here in Rutherford County, you can go a few miles to Davidson, Wilson.
Yeah.
Run over to Bedford and Cannon. Where I lived in western Kentucky, the next county would have been Illinois. The next county was Missouri. The next county was right there in the tip of Kentucky. So that's where I got started with all those licenses. I came here in 2004 for MTSU and just never left. Met my wife, and we've been here ever since.
Okay.
Hey, first of all, my girlfriend just finally got on.
Renee?
Renee, thank you. About time you got on. But hey, you do have a fan on here. Miss Amanda Peterson is on here. Is she a friend of yours?
Yeah, absolutely.
She said, how many states are you planning to expand in? Sky's the limit, Jay. You are doing what you were born to do.
I would have to agree.
He showed us proof that he was born to do it. He's got an auction flyer over here from 1980. Were you born in 1984?
84 model. Yep.
Okay.
What model's the Weatherman?
I'm a 74. That's
74.
Hey, big deuce and a quarter, 74.
Hey, Amanda, please share our stream. You would be helping our guy Jay Cash out. We want to expand the reach. My mama just got on here. Hey, Mama.
I do got a question, Jay, and you don't have to answer it. I don't mean to put anybody down. And so, tell us why that you did.
Who's the least professional auctioneer in this?
Well, that's a great question.
Why did you not go to a traditional firm compared to around here? Now, everywhere else, we don't know you, but around here, we're still a small town.
Absolutely.
And so here we are starting out as a real estate company in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. That it seemed like for many years people had the lock. If that makes sense.
They do. That's always the number. Like, well, who are you with? And I'm like, well, it's my James R. Cash Auctions, and
Jimmy.
And I admire a lot of the auctioneers in town. Charlie Montgomery is one of the nicest guys you're going to meet. You know, the other day I had a sign up. I left it up. I texted him, hey, would you mind getting that last sign? I forgot it, and I haven't gone and picked it up, so I need to go get my sign from him. But it just was, I grew up in it. I know there's a right way to do things. I know how it's meant to be done, and no need to sit back and ride the coattails of someone else or anything like that. So we always knew that was the goal, and there have been some great, realtors that have jumped on board and refer me business. That's phenomenal.
I want to ask that. How do you get referrals? And I'm sorry, Weatherman.
No, that's a great question.
I want to know how you get referrals. Could I get paid by sending you a referral?
Absolutely.
Could other agents get paid? Also, could I get paid if I had a buyer go?
Yeah, I actually wrote a class for the Real Estate Commission, TREC. It's a 2-hour course. And you could actually come get 2 hours.
We're going to rename this show the James R. Cash Show.
No.
Show me up. I think surely somebody said don't show me up.
Who pre-interviewed this guy? Man, yeah, he made us look bad.
But we wrote the class and answers every single question. I teach a lot at different title companies, at MTAR, we teach it all. But you can get paid. And that's why I say anytime if you're a realtor, and you've got a listing, you need to take control of it. You know, nothing stinks worse than getting a call on Monday morning from a client you've been showing property to for 2 or 3 months, and they go, man, we found the perfect property. It's Saturday. We bought it at an auction.
Yeah.
And you get cut out of the deal. You don't get paid. There are a lot of ways to get paid if you're the buyer agent. So if you're the buyer's agent, you can get paid. It may not be that easy, but there are a lot of ways to get paid. But the best way is when you have a seller. Take control of the situation. Partner up with an auctioneer that you trust and you know they're going to be able to back up what they say, and you can get paid. A lot of times you can be paid 50%, just split right down the middle, just like a lot of realtors watching, so they understand the language we're saying.
Sure.
But a lot of monster producers, I've been able to connect with some power brokers that are in that program, and very impressive. The one we closed this morning was with Chris Garrett, the broker at Weichert Realtors.
Great agent.
And getting good with him.
Big old guy.
Do a good job with him, and they'll keep breeding on. But there's a lot of times when we'll go out, if you have it listed, weatherman, you call, you're thinking an auction might be right. The least I can do for a realtor is try. It's amazing what a third person coming into a situation can with the seller and the realtor, and say, you may have been telling them for months, we ought to lower the price. That's the only problem. We're just too high. The house is great. Ain't nothing wrong with it. We're just too high. Well, we got to do what the seller wants to do usually. And well, when I come in, the least I can do, we don't book an auction. We're going to get a price reduction, or we're going to have the seller on a new track where they know this is what I need to do to move the house. Because we all, real estate agents, traditional brokerages, we really do. We make problems go away.
Sure.
This house isn't big enough. I want to sell it, move on to another one. And we just partner with realtors that, understand that we're there working with them. We're not working against them. We're a team. We're going to do it. We're going to sell it. We're going to make the client money. We're going to get paid and move on to the next deal and just build referrals that way. Attorneys are great. Attorneys are really good because they usually deal with the estates. They deal with the divorces sometimes, and that's a little more painful to deal with the divorce because there's a little more squabbling going on. But a good divorce sales not too bad, and those are the best ways to get referrals, I'd say.
That could be a 3-sale deal: the house and then 2 more.
Yep.
What else you got, weatherman?
If so, without going too long, so say we send you a referral, and what does it typically pay an agent to do a referral? Do you add it at the back with a buyer premium, or kind of is it like $1,000 referral fee, or what's something?
With me, we're partners in it. If you've had it listed on the MLS, we're going to probably honor that agreement, whatever that is. Certainly, commission's always negotiable. We all know that, and we don't want to lose our license talking about that right on Good Real Estate 101. That would not be a shame we lose our license, but you can get paid. It can be split 50-50.
Tad?
And I've not, but I always liked their website years ago.
Tad's a great
never
guy.
met him. A lot of people know him. I need to meet him, and get paid as much as whatever we agree upon.
So what is a general rule of thumb for an auction? Is it 10%, 6%, or what is a general rule?
It ranges. I mean, pick a number. I mean, that really is it, and that's why I say to any time when I'm teaching the class, if you're going to, work with an auctioneer, go interview them, go to the auctions, watch them, see how they put on. Do they have a professional staff? Do they know do they have a good presence about them? Are they likable? And all that, because when you get out there and you get in front of a group of people, our fiduciary duty is to our seller. That's who we're working for. But we got to work with the buyer. We got to help facilitate and build their confidence and let them know we're here to assist them in any way, and we want to get the most money from them. As soon as you're at an auction and there's a lot of emotion goes on. That's what we talked about. You got a lot of that ego. You got to know how to handle it. That's why we have a good professional staff of men and women auctioneers, and just a lot of dynamics that go on when you have an auction. But
do we have any questions? We got a lot of people in attendance today. Do we have any questions from anyone in our audience? Charlie.
Brad Elam,
Cousin Charlie, where's the question?
Back there.
Sir, could you speak up?
What is it where you have the auction and say you win, but then it's like throwing back into the pot?
Multi-part.
Again.
Yeah.
Is that old horse trading trick you know?
No. Cousin Charlie knows. That's a whole nother show. We'll come back here. My people will get with your people.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see if we get on it. The green room, by the way, was remarkable. What you had back there, I love those M&Ms and stuff and Skittles. That was great. But thank you for having me on. But Cousin Charlie, that's called multi-part, and I will be glad to go into detail about that sometime. But we will absolutely kill the bandwidth if we go into that long.
Well, we've been going 40 minutes.
Here's one question. Before you
little man, sorry.
Show us a little old trick. You said you show us a little
All right,
old
so
trick.
we're going to do it. The whole auctioneer's chant is just a lot of
We've been waiting
numbers.
40 minutes to hear
A lot
this
of
part.
numbers, with filler words, is what that's called, filler
Okay.
words. So it could be, this is the most simplest way. Like a dynamic auctioneer is going to have a dictionary of filler words that they can interject with the numbers. You know, at the end of the day, you want to be clear, concise, and understandable to everyone. The auctioneer's chant is what we call that, creates excitement. And that's
Sure.
just, rather than getting up there and just saying 10, who'll give me 10, $10, 20, where, you know, add a little spunk to it, add a little rhythm to it, and you interject your filler words. So if we go to auction school, you're gonna practice counting. It's kind of embarrassing. It's that simple.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're gonna count to 100 forwards and backwards and fives and tens and everything, but you interject filler words. So it may be $5 now, 10, $10 now, 15, $15 now, 20. So dollar now is probably the most basic word. Would you bid? Would you give? Is other filler words. So you just say your bid, your number, plus your filler words. So $1 now, 2, would it get 2 now, 3, would it get 3 now, 4, $4 deal now, 5, 5, would it get 5, would it get $6 deal now, 7, get $7 deal now, 8, 8, 8, and you run on upwards and backwards, and you can throw in all sorts of words that you want to throw in, and creates a lot of dynamics.
try.
So what I think we'll do is we're going to sponsor GTT. We'll
Yes.
send them to auction school.
Absolutely.
And
Do you learn how to do that in auction school?
You can. You really have, a lot of people are born just to have a little
Oh, yeah.
talent
You're like a
to
little
it.
rapper, man. You can speak
It
so
can be.
fast.
It can be.
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I ain't gonna lie, 'cause we tell the truth on this show. I didn't know if you had the goods as far as I've never got to hear your auction. I know I've done a deal with you in the past, and your class act and everything I like. With hearing you today and just hearing what you say, you're the real deal. my
Thank you
friend.
very much.
And I tell you, I'll definitely recommend you, and I can say that with certainty right here by just the
Using
40
my
minutes,
words.
the 40 minutes of talking with you and just filling in. You definitely know your craft and you know your game.
Yeah. And the same goes to you guys. What you do every week, the commitment you have to this is remarkable. And
Thank you.
people tune in, and whether they want to admit to it or not, they like it.
Oh, yeah.
And you share it all week, and, you know, at the end of the week, you may
Shove
have...
it down their throats.
you may have 5 or 10,000
yes,
views,
yeah.
and they start racking up there. So what you've done, GTT, is remarkable, and I appreciate you having me on. I could always go back to my 2 favorite shows that you've done. One was a long time ago when you were talking about negotiating win-win. You know, you can't take too much away from them. So win-win was a good one, maybe a year or 2 ago. And then my other favorite one was going through new construction homes.
Yeah.
Talking about what you look for and don't look for. So those are 2 great shows that always stand out in my mind that you've done. But this is fantastic. Thanks for letting me come on.
Well, hold on. I got some more questions for
They're
you that
rolling
are
in.
popping up
There we
here.
come.
Richard Hodges, thank you again for coming by today. Amanda Peterson, she wants to know, what age did you start practicing your auction
Oh,
chant?
my God. Well,
Your chant.
Yeah, mine was probably terrible. I live in the shadows of my dad, who's probably one of the greatest auctioneers
Oh,
to
yeah.
have ever lived. So, Mom, you know, they always say Dale Jr. was never going to be as good as his dad. You know, a lot of people thought Hank Jr. was never good as his dad. Mom's
Yeah.
like, you're never going to be as good as your dad. So, I was a nervous wreck to ever do it. I would say I was probably 17 or 18 forever. I was just nervous wreck to do it because I had to fill such big shoes. But it's I'd get up in front and do it in front of the Pope and the President. Wouldn't think twice about it now.
So yeah, was one of your heroes growing up.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, a lot of good auctioneers I can name, but he's probably the stoutest. They call him
Yeah.
the selling machine. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, it's kind of like your nickname, big guy.
Let's change my name. Do we have any more questions from everybody? Anybody?
Hey, Dale Nichols just joined. Dale Nichols is an auctioneer at Bob
Yeah,
Parks Realty.
yeah, good
Fantastic guy. Taught
Good,
me a
great
lot of
guy.
things, and I'm glad he just joined on. But he is one of the good guys. A lot of auctioneers on. Thank everybody for watching. Thank you for letting me come.
Man,
Lots
you know,
of fun.
here's what I love real people, and when I see your social media, you're who you are, because I'm who I am.
Absolutely.
There is no telling what you might see me do, and I see you having fun, and I appreciate people that aren't scared to have fun. So, I've always been intrigued by horses. I like whenever you when you do something live, you might have fun at a certain place, but hey, I'm very drawn to somebody that wants to live life and have fun. We got to, hey Jay, proud to call you a friend, Marcy.
Oh, that's nice of her. Hey, you remember the horse John Jones? I told you about him. I think I tagged you about 2 years ago in May Preakness. I was at a race, and the horse was named
Yeah.
John Jones.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sucker didn't. He never won a race. At all, didn't, but-
You know, there was you may. I don't know if you remember Smarty Jones.
Yeah, Smarty
but
Jones.
Smarty Jones, I think the people that own Smarty Jones, I think they traded their way up a little group that maybe they started out and they, like me and you, would go out and get a horse.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, how many races did he won some big races.
He almost was a Triple Crown winner, I think, in 2004. He won the Derby in the second race, but he failed to win the big one. America was in love with him. He was America's horse.
Well, John and some of his buddies bought a horse, bought a racehorse. And after several months, I'm like, hey, man, how's your horse? Man, that damn thing's always sick or always doing something. But, I mean, it was just funny that, he was on such a high because of Smarty Jones. And then his horse is like a lemon. He got like a lemon.
Lost $14,000 on his horse.
Well, Jay and Weatherman and people in the audience, I appreciate you on here. This has been a very, very insightful show. And, man, you are very, very polished. How old are you again?
I'll be 33 on the October. Yeah.
Dang, man, I wish I was as polished as you at 43. I'm 44. But, man, you're very, very good at articulating how you help people. And I'm very impressed by you. So, thanks again for coming on here, Weatherman. Excuse me. All that water's catching up to me. Is there anything you'd like to?
No, I just want to thank you for coming on, Jay. Appreciate being who you are, and definitely we're going to be big supporters of you. And thank you for being supporters of us.
Good deal.
So, ending. Hey, Thursday night, 8:00, straight from the gut. I missed last week. It pained me, Weatherman.
But we got to see Randy Hauser.
We got to see Randy Hauser. That was a great show. And this Thursday, we will do what I was going to do last Thursday night, and I'm going to talk about how a man should lead the household.
That a boy.
Maybe it's going to be controversial. I'm going to say my opinions of how a man. Do you have any kids? Hey, before we go, how do you run your household? Who runs the household?
You know that video?
She's a pretty girl.
You know that picture of that dog licking the pots that you had in the dishwasher or whatever? It kind of goes like that. They kind of do whatever they like to, but hey, it's all right. We love them anyway.
That's it.
Well, tomorrow night, 8:00, tune in to Straight from the Gut. We're going to talk about how a man should lead the household. Thank you so much. Please share the stream. And thanks again, Jay, for coming on here. Hey, real estate friends, go right here to our girl, Belinda Arender. If you're looking for a difference maker in your loan business or in the process for your client, get over there to my girl, Belinda.
Buying or finding a new home should not be stressful or boring. With over 14 years experience, Good Time Tommy has spent his time building strategies, tips, and content that will help you, the new homeowner or seasoned homeowner, get the best deal for your money. Educate, navigate, and celebrate. Because whether you're buying or selling, you're going to get more traffic to your property promotion on every channel, and watch as Tommy and his team work until you are satisfied. Your new home awaits you with Good Time Tommy and his team. Subscribe, like, and follow at GoodTimeTommy.com. That's GoodTimeTommy.com.